Have you ever looked at a simple AI prompt and thought, okay, but how do we turn this into a real professional content machine? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're building a complete end-to-end AI blog generator inspired by a really cool project from the book Prompt Engineering for Generative AI. We're going way beyond just a single command to build a whole system that creates unique, high-quality articles right down to the custom images. All right, let's jump right in. What's the actual difference between the simple stuff most people are doing and a true production-level system? You're about to see it's a completely different world. So on the left, you've got the basic approach. Write a blog post on this topic. It works, kinda, but the results are usually pretty generic, right? But now, look at the right. This is a real production system. It's got an orchestrator managing the whole show. It pulls in live context so it's not out of date. It actually analyzes and tests for a specific writing style, and it even creates its own prompts for illustrations. This is how you get truly unique, expert-level content on a massive scale.
Okay, so how do we even start to build something that powerful? Well, it all begins with a solid foundation for generating and, more importantly, grounding the text. This is basically the engine room for the whole operation.
The first major tool in our toolbox is LangChain. Honestly, the best way to think of it is like the conductor of an orchestra. It's the framework that connects all our different AI tools and steps together, the text generator, the fact checker, the image creator, and makes them all work in harmony as one smooth, automated workflow. But a smart system also needs a great memory, and that's where retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, comes into play. You know, an LLM only knows what it was trained on, which can be months or even years out of date. RAG is the tech that gives it a live feed to current information, grounding its answers in reality and stopping it from, well, hallucinating, which is just a fancy way of saying making stuff up. And this slide breaks down exactly how that magic works. So first, the system grabs external documents, think recent articles or research on our topic, and chops them up into small, digestible pieces. Second, it organizes all those pieces in a special kind of database, so they're super easy to search. Third, when it's time to write, it finds the most relevant tidbits for the job. And finally, this is the brilliant part, it stuffs those key facts directly into the prompt as context. This is what makes sure our blog post is packed with fresh, factual details. So, we've got a powerful text engine that's up to date. Awesome. But how do we stop it from sounding like, well, a generic AI? How do we make it capture a specific person's unique voice and style? The secret is this really cool technique called text style unbundling. This is where we get to play literary detective. We take a sample of an author's writing and we basically analyze its unique DNA. We're not just looking at the words they use, but how they use them. And we're looking at some very specific things. What's the tone? Is it formal, super casual, maybe a bit witty? What kind of words do they use? Are their sentences long and flowing, or are they short and punchy? Do they use a lot of subheadings? By breaking down these elements, we can build a detailed blueprint of the author's style to hand over to the AI. Now, giving the AI a style guide is a great first step, but how do we actually know if it listened? We can't just kind of eyeball it and say, yeah, that feels right. We need a way to actually test and measure the results. This quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. Prompting isn't just some creative art form, it's also a science. Just guessing which prompt is going to work best for capturing a certain style is a total shot in the dark. You have to be able to measure it. So how do we do that? We use a mathematical method called cosine similarity. Now that sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Imagine you could give the original author's style a coordinate on a map, and then give the AI's output a coordinate. Cosine similarity just measures the distance between those 2 points. The smaller the distance, the closer the match. It's so cool. And here is the hard data to prove this works. This table shows the results from testing a few different prompting strategies. Now, don't worry about all the numbers, just focus on the highlighted green boxes. That's the style distance we were just talking about. And remember, lower is better. You can clearly see that some prompts were way more effective than others. This isn't guesswork. It's using data to find the absolute best prompt. Okay, our text is now fact-checked, it's rich with context, and it's stylistically a perfect match. But a great blog needs a great image. And for this part, we're going to have our AI system get a little meta. We do this with a really clever trick called meta prompting. It's exactly what it sounds like. We use one AI to write a prompt for another AI. In our case, we're going to have our text generating LLM act as a creative director for an image model like Stable Diffusion. This workflow for a children's book is the perfect way to understand it. First, an LLM is asked to write the story. Then, that same LLM is asked, okay, now create super detailed prompts for the illustrations, scene by scene. Those prompts then get sent to an image model, which creates the perfect pictures to bring the story to life.
And we apply that exact same logic. Our system takes the final, polished blog post and basically feeds it back to the LLM. It says, hey, you just wrote this. Now, describe the perfect hero image for this article. That description becomes the perfect context-aware prompt for our image generator.
All right, we've looked at all the different parts: the orchestra conductor, the external brain, the style detective, the testing lab, and the creative director. Now, let's put it all together and see the entire production line in action, from start to finish. First up, the process starts by gathering truly unique knowledge. Instead of just scraping the web, the system actually interviews a real person to capture their personal stories and expertise on the topic. Next, it takes that personal knowledge and makes it even smarter using RAG. It goes out and finds all the latest data and articles on the topic to make sure the final post is both personal and factually up to the minute. Then, with all that amazing context loaded in, both the human insights and the web data, the core writing begins. LangChain takes over and starts generating the article piece by piece. As the text is being written, it's constantly being checked against our target style using that cosine similarity test. This makes sure the voice is spot on from beginning to end. And finally, the finished article is used to meta-prompt the image generator. It creates a perfectly matched, totally custom illustration, and boom, we have a complete piece of content, ready to publish, all automated. Seeing this whole system laid out, it really shows you what's next for AI. We're moving away from just asking an AI for things, and we're moving into designing the entire factory that creates them. And that leaves you with a really fascinating question to chew on, right? When the tools get this good at the how, the real value of human creativity shifts. It becomes less about the technical skill of making something, and more about having that initial spark, the unique idea, the vision, the taste. It makes you wonder, what does human creativity even look like in a world like that?